Hello world. Excuse the video. I'm kind of laying on the couch. I just got home from work, but I wanted to talk about something that was very monumental for me. That's the correct word I want to say, monumental. And that is my divorce. Now, probably like she's been taking it so well. Any of you that follow me, over the last year or so, I got my locks. I went vegan. I've lost some weight. I've gotten the opportunity to travel more and do things that I love. And surface level looking at me is definitely like I'm happy. Like overall, I am happy, but it wasn't always that way. And one of the things I talk about being transparent and being honest and truly sharing, how I really feel about things, because I feel that, sometimes that truth, that true experience, like that we try to hide from people, that's really what connects us. And I don't know, but I feel like maybe there's somebody else out there that's going through a similar situation to me. And, maybe you're gonna happen across this video, or maybe you're even thinking about getting divorced, and it'll help you decide what your next steps are, what you want to do, and things like that. But anyway, divorce is hard. You're like, really? Of course, yes, divorce is hard because most people don't enter into marriage lightly. Based off of your religious beliefs, a lot of people believe that that marriage is it's the connecting of God and man and woman, right? So it's like when you think about getting divorced, it's like, oh my God, I'm failing God and I'm failing me and I'm failing my husband, because it's just like just overall marriage is divorce just feels like failure, right? And that's hard to deal with because a lot of people don't like to fail. Like we will go around the whole court, um to get away from it, like we're like running from failure, right? Some people don't even try, like they don't even attempt to do something that they want because they're afraid to fail, right? So then you think about that when it comes to divorce, and it's just like a whole nother thing, right? And then a lot of times you have kids and family, and some of you probably have some people that were like, y'all marriage not gonna last, or y'all shouldn't be together in the first place, and it feels like you're giving up, or you're quitting, or you're surrendering, or you're proving all the naysayers right, and things like that. Well, I got married in 2012, and I know I work for a bank, but I'm not always good at math, so that's like 7 years. So I was married for 7 years, and I was with my husband for 11 years overall. So that's a pretty decent time. Um, and it was just like when I got married, you couldn't tell me anything. I was just like, this is real. This is real love. I'm in love. I'm gonna be married forever. I didn't really care about anything else, because I was just like, man, I found somebody that loves me, and my whole life I just really wanted love. I really wanted to feel truly loved. And I think there's periods of my life where I didn't feel that way, right? And so, at a time in my life where everything was so hard, I struggled in school, in college, to be financially secure, or be financially stable, not even secure, just stabilized, right? I worked a lot of jobs. I was all over the place. I had periods where I was like homeless. It was just crazy. It seemed like everything that could go wrong went wrong. And I entered into like a state of depression. I was really depressed, because like my whole life I grew up, and I just thought to myself, if I can make it to school and I can be successful, then everything else would kind of like just work itself out for me, right? And I would have made it. I would have made it to the promised land, because I would have a degree and I could get a good job, and I don't have to worry about being broke or being poor, or worried about like if I'm going to be able to eat, or if I'm going to have clothes that I want and things like that. So for a long time, that was like really one of the motivating factors in my life, was just to go to school. Well, anyway, long story short, I actually had to drop out of school because of financial issues and things like that. So I had to go back to New Orleans, where I'm from. And, it was depressing, because it was like I don't know if any of you have ever like really, really tried to do something, but like when you really try to do something and you are just committed to it and like everything goes wrong, it's just like, God, what's happening? Like why, why is this happening to me? And it's hard and it's easy to fall into a state of depression, especially at a young age like that, right? And so, despite all those things that I was going through, family issues, etc., here was my husband. He was the guy that, did anything for me. He was there, he was present, he was available. He, he just, he was a good guy. And then he gave me something that I never felt that I had before, which was love. And in a different way, right? And so when I walked down the aisle to get married and we got married, I just knew it was forever because I was like, I'm fighting for this marriage. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I have to do. And I was going to be the best wife that I could be, even though, like, I didn't really have a lot of good examples of, like of strong marriages and families and things like that. My mom had me when she was 16 and she was married a couple times, but nothing that I saw that I wanted to be. And then when I was young, I read a lot of romance novels. So I had kind of created in my mind this idea of what love and marriage would be like and what it would look like, right? So anyway, fast forward to now, to the present. And, after so many years of, trials and tribulations and, going through things like that, we came to the agreement or to the decision that, we weren't going to be married anymore, that we were going to get divorced. And I mean, I must have cried. I prayed. I was like, God, why? Am I making the right decision? I was all over the place because it was just like, this marriage is supposed to be a blessing to me. This marriage is supposed to be something that, is real. It's supposed to last forever. I just thought about all the things that I've been through, all the things that we said, all the things that we did. And it was just like, in a moment, it was almost as if that stuff didn't matter. And that was hard. Right. And, you know, the part that I struggled with the most in my divorce was not even the divorce itself. It wasn't the fact that I was losing a connection with someone that I loved and I dedicated my life to and that I had been there for through everything, right? I mean, that was a part of it. So I'm not going to say that wasn't, because that's definitely a part of it. But it was more of the failure part for me. I'm very competitive. I don't like to lose. And I just felt like divorce was the ultimate losing, right? Because, for years it was just like, that image that you build of this is my marriage, we're strong, we're black excellence personified, we're like this strong couple, and and all these things like hashtag relationship goals, as people would say. And it was just like, now that is all gone. And I worried and I wondered, I was like, well, how are people going to look at me? Like, what are they going to think about me? Like, what are people going to think? Like, that was such a big thing. And, I'm not even one that normally cares about what other people think, but that was like the really thing. Like, what are people going to think? Because, my husband was a really nice guy and most people really liked him. And I was just like, everybody's going to think it was my fault that I created this and, that I did something wrong, or, that I wasn't a good enough wife. And then I also just thought like, why couldn't I make my marriage work? Right. I put all that responsibility on myself. Like, what could I have done better? What should I have done? What did I need to do to make this, better? But ultimately, I just realized that it just was not what was destined for me. I have no regrets about my marriage. Everything that happened during my marriage and the time of my marriage, that was something for me to go through, to feel, to experience, to grow from, to learn from. And there was good times, it was extremely good times and celebrations and having a baby and, all of these different things, these milestones, right? But then it was also the other things, the not so good things. And I just realized that in that moment of my life that I was in, that's where I needed to be, where I was. But then as I had grown and I had learned, and me being the person that I am, I just realized that I was no longer the person to enter that marriage, and I could not stay in it, because if I did stay in it, then I would be doing the person that I'm destined to be and the person that I am currently a disservice. And you're probably like, what does that mean? What does that mean? Do you think like you settled? Do you think you were too good for him? No, 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 no. I think that my ex-husband's gonna be a great husband for somebody else, the person that he's destined to be with. But I think that sometimes people say it a lot, but sometimes we do meet people at certain points in our lives, and they're supposed to be in our lives, but sometimes we don't listen to God and we give them a role or a title, or we say, oh, you're exactly what I need, and then we like cling to it, right? And sometimes we create a purpose for things that it's not supposed to have. Or pretty much we took something that was supposed to be temporary and we tried to make it permanent. But the thing I've learned about something that's temporary is that if it's temporary, it's temporary. You can't make something be what it's not going to be. You can't turn, like, even if you turn water into ice, like, it's going to melt eventually, If you put it in the right conditions, it's going to melt because that's not what it is in its original state. And I felt like that's the same thing that happened. But some of the things that I learned, some takeaways, right? Because if you're divorced right now and you're having a hard time and you don't know if you made the right decision and you feel like a failure, and you're having like depression or any of those things, that even things that I struggled through, I'm gonna say, give yourself time. Like, I know it's easy to be like to fall into depression. It's also easy to fall into, this doesn't bother me either. Like, whatever, I don't care. Like, I'm brushing it all off. Like, it's not a big deal, right? But I think there has to be a level of honesty and self-awareness, right? Um was I a perfect person? No. But was I the best that I could be in those moments? I would say yes, that I was. So, I have to be more forgiving of myself. Because if I was talking to you and you were telling me the things that I'm telling you, I'd be like, girl, you're being too hard on yourself. You need to just be, just calm down, just be cool. Like, you give yourself a break and all these things, right? Because we're so kind to other people. So we'll say all that stuff to other people, but at the same time, we'll go through the exact same situation and we'll be like, oh, this is so stupid. Why'd you say this? Why'd you do that? Right? So taking on a journey of like self-love and acceptance, like that was a big thing because I realized that my husband, I wanted him to love me in a way that I had not learned how to love myself. Mm, yes. And I had set these expectations for him, or what love should be, and things that I needed and things that I wanted. He couldn't fulfill that because no one else can fulfill that for you. I'm just going to say it again. No one else can fulfill that for you. So don't waste your time trying to go out in the world and seek and find someone that fills the gaps in your heart, or fill those holes. Instead, go out and fill those holes with you. Like, learn you, who you are, what's important to you, what you want to be, and those types of things, because if not, you will continue to be in a cycle or a pattern of doing the same things over and over. And sometimes it manifests itself in different ways. Like, sometimes women, they'll get with a man that's broken, and you try to fix him, and you're like, but I do this for him, I do that for him, and all this type of stuff, and then he leaves you for the next lady, or he cheats on you, or is like abusive and all this, and you're like, and I gave him all of this. And it's like it's almost putting yourself in a position where you focus so much energy on somebody else, because it truly gives you an out. Ooh, you focus so much energy on someone else because it gives you an out. Because then you can say, well, I did this for him, and I did that, and I did this and this and this. And it's just like, okay, most times people don't ask us to do the things that we do for them. A lot of times we choose to do those things so that we don't have to do the hard work to focus on ourselves. Like, what would happen if instead of helping him get a job, like, you helped yourself get a better job, right? Or instead of and I'm not saying you're not supposed to help the person that you're with, because you definitely should, but what I'm saying is that people are responsible for their own lives and their own existence, and we should never give up so much of our energy to try to fix someone else, because people are who they are and they're going to be who they are, right, until they decide to change or to be something different. But by making ourselves the savior of other people, we have to fix their problems, we have to do this for them, we have to be there for them, they need us so much, right? Then we don't give ourselves the opportunity to need ourselves. We don't give ourselves the opportunity to focus and on us to rebuild, to figure out what areas and things that we can do better. And to be honest, I think sometimes that's what we want because it's too hard, right? That's how you feel. It's too hard because there's so much trauma, there's so much pain, so much hurt, so much suffering that when you start thinking about it too much, you're like, oh no, like you don't really want to get into it. But what I have to say is stop. Really stop. Stop yourself in the tracks and then ask yourself, again, when did I start feeling this way? You know, when did I start needing to do X, Y, and Z, right? When did that become so urgent to me or so important to me? Because I feel that when we stop and we start to like really assess the things that we're doing, then we realize that a lot of those things don't really benefit us. And a lot of those things don't give us the ability to sit down and be true. It's like, I'm not going to lie. When I was young, I blocked out a whole section of my life. Like that part of my life, it was too painful. It was too hard. And I don't want to remember it. I don't want to think about it. So people are like, girl, you remember this person? Do you remember that? I'll be like, no, I don't remember any of that. Because I blocked those things out because I didn't want to deal with it. And, I was afraid of being still because I felt like, I always had to be doing something. Like, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I got this going on. Like, I felt like the more I was doing, the closer it would bring me to success or my dreams or goals or the things that I want to be. But really, I was just trying to be busy for the sake of being busy. Because if I stay still, then I got to deal with this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got to deal with all of these emotions, all of this hurt, all of this pain. Because I noticed if I sat too long, if I was too silent, then those feelings, they would creep back up on me, And when they creep back up on me, I was just like, oh no, I can't do it. Cause like, it would be so easy to go into, like I said, a depression or instead of being sad or things like that. And it's almost like, I always get that image of the black mom, like she's sick, but she's like, I can't be sick. I got too much stuff to do. And that's kind of how I feel like black women, sometimes how we live our lives, right? We're just like, I can't be sad. I can't be depressed. I can't do this. I can't do that because I got this. I got this. I got kids. The world don't stop. I got to do all this type of stuff. And it's like, I get it, sis. I get it. I really do. But at the same time, like, we got to stop and we got to deal with that shit because let me tell you what happens when you don't deal with that shit. It manifests itself in other things in your life. It's so many things that we're so defensive to, that we're against. We don't even know, like, we don't even take the time to realize why we respond. You don't understand why you're screaming and hollering at your kids all the time. You understand why you're screaming and hollering at your man. You know what I'm saying? You understand why randomly out of nowhere you just break down and crying. Why you gain all this weight. Why you're emotionally eating. Why you're tired all the time. Why you always got headaches. Why you're always sick. Why you're all these things. Because if you don't deal with these things, they come back up. So all of that to say, when it came to my divorce and stuff like that, I had to do the work. I had to go to therapy. I had to go to counseling. I still have a therapist that I go to. I'm not ashamed because sometimes you need somebody that you can talk to and be free and be honest and transparent and just say what you need to say and not worry about how anybody else is going to look at you and not worry about how anybody else is going to judge you or what they're going to think. Because as a black woman especially, and this is for all women, so don't, but as a black woman especially, it's so many things in life that we already have to deal with, and then we got to deal with life itself too, right? So it's like, if we don't take that time to really heal, right? Not be so busy that we just put a band-aid on top of everything, but to actually and purposely and intentionally heal, to get to the root of that trauma, to sit in it. Like, it is not negative to address your feelings. Ooh, I think I might need to put that on a t-shirt. It is not negative to address your feelings. You're not being negative to be like, in this moment, this is how I feel. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be hurt, to feel betrayed. It's okay to be afraid. It's okay to feel these feelings, to be mad, to be angry, it's okay. What's not okay is getting stuck in that, right? What's not okay is not being able to find the lesson and the pain, or to be able to continue to move. It's not okay to get stuck, So to anybody out there that's, divorced or getting divorced and you feel like you're alone and you're the only person that's going through this, you're not. I mean, they say, hey, half of people, their marriages end in divorce. And that's not funny because I really believe in marriage and I do hope to be married again. But I say, think of it as a blessing, whatever stage in your life, wherever you're at and things like that. Think of it as a blessing because if this is something that you have to go through, then you have to believe that God has something greater in store for you or a greater purpose. I do. So that's me. That's a little bit about divorce, and I hope that you guys have a wonderful day.